response to those victims who were killed in the Florida high school shooting. Tonight on NewsLink Indiana, we have the latest on the walkout that'll take place across the country and how Delaware County schools are gearing up and reacting.
And an update tonight on the Ball State student who was injured in a hit-and-run accident during spring break in Florida. New details tonight on the family's response and how he's doing coming up.
And we saw a crazy mix of weather throughout the day today. Will the snow return through the overnight hours? I'll have details in my forecast.
From Ball State Unified Media, this is NewsLink Indiana.
And good evening, everyone. Thanks for being with us. I'm Tanner Holbrook.
And I'm Zoe DeWiggins. We begin tonight as many across the Hoosier State woke up to snow this morning, causing limited visibility and slick roads around portions of east central Indiana.
That's right. Take a look at this time-lapse shot in the heart of Ball State's campus. That snow stuck around for portions of this afternoon, too. NewsLink Indiana's chief weather forecaster, Balint Salivari, has our first look at weather this evening. Balint?
Hey, good evening, Tanner and Zoe. And it's definitely been a tale of two seasons, to say the least. At some points, it looked like spring with all the sunshine. Then at other times, it looked like winter with all the snow. Finally, that snow is starting to move its way on out of our viewing area further down to the south. However, when we look further up towards Lake Michigan, some more snow squalls are starting to form. That could play factor through the overnight hours. Hence why we will have an overnight chance for snow. Now, take a look at this time lapse throughout the day today. You can see the snow was building up quickly. However, it quickly started to melt. That's because temperatures today were above the freezing point. We reached a high of 38 degrees here in Muncie. So any snow that we did see quickly melted. Still 10 degrees below average. 48 is our average for this time of year. Now, current temperatures right around the 30-degree mark. 29 here in Muncie, 30 in Newcastle, and 28 degrees in Anderson. Now, coming up in my full forecast, I'll be discussing how long that cold will be sticking around. A clearer midweek in store, though, and also a weekend warm-up, maybe even for St. Patrick's Day. That and more in my full forecast.
Looking forward to it, Balint. Tomorrow marks 1 month since a mass shooting happened at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, where 17 people were killed and another 17 were injured.
That's right, Tanner. Students all across the country will walk out of class tomorrow in response to the shootings for the National Student Walkout. NewsLink Indiana's Sarah Lehman is live in the newsroom with how schools in Delaware County are reacting. Sarah?
That's right, guys. Tomorrow is National School Walkout Day. This comes after the shootings in Parkland, Florida. Students all around the nation will walk out of morning classes at 10. It will last 17 minutes to honor the 17 victims killed at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. The walkout is partly a protest to push lawmakers to pass gun reform and partly a memorial to honor the victims. Now, there are some schools around Delaware County saying there will be consequences if students decide to protest. Daleville Community Schools sent a letter to the community to, quote, clearly state their plans and rationale as they navigate the movement. Daleville administration says acts of civil disobedience, such as walkout protests like the one planned nationally tomorrow, are designed to cause disruption and therefore are not protected by free speech. Daleville isn't the only school saying this, though. Yorktown High School students have agreed to a 15 to 20-minute student-led assembly to introduce a new program, Stand Up for Kindness, which promotes kindness, empathy, and friendships. Superintendent of Yorktown Schools says, "We don't want to divide. We want to unite. By doing anything that resembles a walkout for this purpose, we're dividing ourselves." Well, Muncie Community School students are actually participating in the walkout in a press release sent out yesterday. MCS says students have been working with administration to coordinate their response. Muncie Community Schools Principal Chris Walker says they will remain politically neutral on this issue, but they do respect the rights of their students and are responsible to ensure a safe environment where their voices can be heard. MCS students can choose to participate or just continue on about their regular day. NewsLink Indiana did reach out to schools, however, they weren't immediately available for comment. Now, tomorrow, NewsLink Indiana will have full coverage of the MCS walkout, but for now, live in the newsroom, Sarah Lehman, NewsLink Indiana.
All right, Sarah, thank you. And as area schools plan for the walkout Wednesday, Florida prosecutors today say they will seek the death penalty against Nicholas Cruz, the suspect who shot 17 people at a Florida high school.
Cruz is scheduled for formal arraignment Wednesday on a 34-count indictment, including 17 first-degree murder charges. Cruz's attorney says he will plead guilty if the death penalty was not pursued. The other penalty option for Cruz is life in prison with no possibility of parole.
New on NewsLink tonight, on Monday we told you about a Ball State student who was critically injured during spring break. Now he has regained consciousness and the family is expressing gratitude from the community support. Drew Akers was injured after a hit-and-run accident while crossing the street in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Akers suffered 2 skull fractures and 2 sinus fractures. His brothers in Theta Chi held a Pie a Theta Chi event today at the Scramble-Lite where people could pie brothers for $1. The proceeds are going to Akers' medical expenses.
Back here on campus, Ball State University will receive nearly $50,000 from a federal grant to develop a virtual museum for Indiana's legacy and civil rights. The U.S. Department of the Interior and National Park Service says the university is receiving an African American civil rights grant. The grant will benefit places and projects to help tell the story of the, quote, African American struggle for civil rights and equality. Ball State is one of 51 other recipients, totaling more than $12 million for projects in 24 states.
If you travel along State Road 3, you'll be dealing with construction zones until the fall. 8 miles of highway between Muncie and Newcastle will shift lanes as concrete work is done. You're looking at a map of the impacted roadway now. Passing and left turn lanes of both the north and southbound between County Roads 200 North and 950 North will be impacted. Traffic will be switched in June and restricted to one lane in each direction.
You know, Zoe, they've been at odds for months, and today President Trump parts ways with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson.
You're right, Tanner. The announcement comes in the midst of other White House turmoil and ahead of what could be a crucial meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Karen Kaifa has the latest from Washington.
Outgoing Secretary of State Rex Tillerson speaking for the first time since his firing.
What is most important is to ensure an orderly and smooth transition during a time that the country continues to face significant policy and national security challenges.
Tillerson said his tenure will officially end on March 31st and said he spoke with President Trump around noon. Tuesday morning, the president gave his take.
I actually got along well with Rex, but really it was a different mindset. It was a different thinking.
One crucial area where they felt differently, North Korea. Tillerson, aligned with Defense Chief Jim Mattis, pushed a more measured, less aggressive approach than the president. And Trump said last week's announcement for plans to meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was made without his top diplomat. Sources say Trump has been talking about replacing Tillerson with Mike Pompeo for months. Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chair Bob Corker said the confirmation process for the current CIA director will begin in April.
I think he's excited about his new role or his designation, and I told him we would move through the confirmation process as quickly as we could.
Democrats have already vowed to make it tough. Some worry it could be too close to that proposed North Korea summit.
His confirmation may take weeks or even months in advance of the summit of the century. And so this move is very disconcerting and disturbing for American foreign policy.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Hours after Tillerson was dumped by Trump, Undersecretary of Public Affairs Steve Goldstein was also fired for publicly contradicting the White House account of how Tillerson was fired. Goldstein says Tillerson was officially notified he was fired from a tweet from President Trump on Tuesday morning.
A 20-year contract is up and big changes are coming to Bankers Life Fieldhouse, what the downtown Indianapolis complex announced today and the plans coming up.
And St. Patty's Day is right around the corner. We'll show you some events you can plan for this weekend. Stay with us.
Oh! Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
So I've come up with a family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Welcome back. With this year's legislative season coming to an end, some Indiana lawmakers are making their final efforts to loosen gun control. Monday, legislators offered a proposal that would shift the language of one bill from the legislation of cannabis extract CBD oil to gun reform. The proposal would allow Hoosiers a lifetime handgun permit free of charge, a license that currently costs $125. It would also allow churches with schools to let churchgoers carry guns at church events. Representative Matt Pierce showed concerns for the bill's process, saying, quote, "It's being done to help legislators hide from their constituents." The session will officially end tomorrow evening.
After next season, the Bankers Life name will be coming off the Indiana Pacers Arena in downtown Indianapolis. The Pacers and CNO Financial Group announced today the company would not renew its naming rights contract after it expires in June of 2019. Carmel-based Conseco has held the naming rights to the area since it opened as Conseco Fieldhouse in 1999 under a 20-year contract. The Pacers say they will be working to line up a new naming rights contract.
And one of my favorite holidays, St. Patrick's Day, is right around the corner, and Muncie has some fun and family-friendly events for you.
That's right, Tanner. This year, Muncie celebrates its 33rd annual St. Patrick's Day Parade. This Saturday at 6 o'clock in the evening, Muncie will celebrate the luck of the Irish on the downtown streets of Muncie, starting at the Muncie Fieldhouse and traveling south on Walnut Street, crossing over Charles Street, and returning on Mulberry. Parent and Muncie resident Ashley Coates says she takes her children every year to enjoy the show and collect candy. Others go as a family tradition, like college student Brady Harris.
Personally, for me, it's been a family thing, so it just brought us closer together, and we just had a good time with it.
All right, and for more information, check out downtownmuncie.org. Ballot, what do we have coming up in weather?
Well, we saw the snow work its way out finally, but it could return through the overnight hours. I'll have details coming up right after this.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Welcome back to NewsLink Indiana. Guys, the weather was a little all over the place today. It seems like we were in spring one moment and then we were in winter.
It really was weird. I woke up this morning, I was able to sleep in a little bit, and I looked out my window and it was snowing, and that was just not what I was expecting at all. I mean, we just got back from spring break.
Yeah, and at some points, the snow was just coming down, Val.
I know, like visibly it was about half a mile at some points, and I said it earlier, but it really was the tale of two seasons,
Yeah,
to say the least.
it really was.
Sunshine, snow, sunshine, snow. That was the story throughout the whole entire day. And we're finally seeing the snow working its way out of the region right now. Within our viewing area, actually, we are seeing that snow finally all the way out. However, some heavier snow is still sticking around that I-65 corridor, more so on the western portions of that corridor. However, that could still come into play through the overnight hours. Temperatures across the state right now, state capital of Indianapolis, 28 degrees, 27 up in Lafayette and Kokomo, and Bloomington sitting at 30 degrees. Here currently in Muncie, though, 29 degrees, but pretty strong winds northwest at 16 miles per hour. That's making it feel much colder. 17 degrees, the feels like temperature. And those strong northerly winds are making it feel colder throughout the entire state. About 10 degrees colder, 19 degrees, the feels like temperature in Indy, 17 in Lafayette, and 14 degrees, the feels like temperature right now in Kokomo. Now today we did reach a high of 38 degrees, so still 10 degrees below average. The average is 48, not anywhere near that record of 74 degrees set back in 1990. Now through the overnight hours, we might see some snow push back in, a 30 or 40% chance. This should be saying snow. A computer updated on me here. 23 degrees for the overnight low. Winds still sticking around, so it's going to be quite chilly through the overnight hours, with those winds still ranging between 15 to 20 miles per hour. So here's our newest model run on Precision Cast. You can see some isolated snow flurries still sticking around in portions of Winchester, Richmond, and certain areas within our viewing area. Don't expect any accumulation with this. It's going to be short-lived and just some light flurries. And then it'll start to clear by the morning hours, but definitely get those kiddos bundled up as they head on out the door. Get those hats, scarves, mittens, anything, because it's going to be 24 degrees by 7 a.m. Calmer winds, but then they'll start to pick back up through the afternoon at 37 degrees by 3 p.m. when the kids come home from school. Then hometown highs for tomorrow throughout the viewing area, right around 40 degrees in Richmond and Farmland. In Marion, you will reach a high of 41 degrees. Also note that sunshine starting to peek its way back into the forecast throughout the area tomorrow. For the next 5 days, it's going to be a slow but steady creep back up into the 50s. By Sunday, we will reach a high of 52 degrees, so we'll be back above average on the latter half of the weekend. Then St. Patrick's Day, it's looking pretty favorable. However, we could still see an isolated snow flurry or two in the early morning hours. Not so pleasant in terms of temperature, only 42 degrees for St. Patrick's Day. But if you look at the 7-day forecast, plenty of sunshine in store. And then I'm excited for that high of 52 degrees for Sunday. But rain starts to push its way back in on Tuesday with a 30% chance of rain and a high of 39 degrees. So I'm still looking forward to St. Patrick's Day. Hopefully that snow pushes its way on out, or, even better, it just doesn't snow at all.
I'm just hoping for a sunny weekend, honestly.
Oh, yeah, me too. Weekends, I hate for it to rain and snow when I'm trying to have fun and hang out with my friends.
But looking forward to that 52 degrees next
very
Monday.
much so.
All right, Valent, thank you. Josh, what do we have coming up in sports?
Well, tonight we're going to talk about the Ball State basketball postseason, and the women's golf team wrapped up a tournament today in Florida. We'll have that when we come back.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but things changed. Teaching didn't seem that cool anymore. So you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Amazing things are happening in teaching, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
And welcome back to NewsLink Indiana. I'm Josh Shelton with sports. Over the break, Ball State's men's basketball fell to Kent State in the MAC tournament quarterfinals, 73-76. This means the regular season is over for the Cards, and Coach James Whitford announced this would also be the end of postseason play for the 2018 season. NewsLink Indiana's Samantha Johnson has more.
For the past 2 years, the Ball State's men's basketball program has competed in postseason play. This year, however, things are a little bit different.
This whole season's kind of been a roller coaster.
A difficult season full of many highs but also many lows was the ultimate factor in Coach James Whitford announcing that the team was opting out of postseason play. Turning down tournament offers, the 2018 season is over for Ball State men's basketball.
I think everyone's kind of emotionally and physically worn out, so if we weren't able, to give it 100%, I feel like, it's best interest of everybody just to, kind of be done for this season.
Many would say the difficult season started far before the first tip, with the loss of teammate and fellow Cardinal Zach Hollywood, followed by losing players mid-season due to disciplinary action.
It was very emotional, I think, obviously at the beginning of the season and losing guys mid-season as well. I don't think there's probably a team in the country that faced as much adversity as we did this year.
But focusing on the day-to-day and the highlights of the season is what keeps this team going.
It kind of made you focus on the now, just with everything we've been through. We just kind of, we just learned to just live in the moment and not just worry about anything else. Often with life, you never dealt with, with what God would give you, and I feel like we ran with what we had and had the best, and made the best of a season that was a little bit crazy, to be honest. And I love playing with my brothers, and I'm gonna miss this team, but I feel like we gave it our all.
Overall, the reactions from the players we talked to today, obviously they were a little disappointed they weren't going to be able to play in the postseason, but also a little reassured to know that this season is over and now they can prepare for the next. Reporting from Worthen Arena, Samantha Johnson, NewsLink, Indiana.
Thanks, Samantha. And Coach Whitford also attributes postseason expenses and possibility of back-to-back road games for the decision to forego the postseason, but he is confident that this is the right choice for his team. And on the other hand, the Ball State women will continue playing their first game after their first game exit in the MAC tourney. Thursday, the Cardinals begin competing in the 64-team NIT tournament with a game against Middle Tennessee State. This will be the Cardinals' sixth straight appearance in the NIT. The team saw a 3-game improvement this season, but again failed to win a game in their conference tournament. Ball State has been led this season by academic All-American Carmen Grande and leading scorer Mariah Monaco. If they win on Thursday, a matchup awaits with a fellow Indiana school, either IUPUI or Purdue. But first, the Cardinals play Middle Tennessee State here at Worthen Arena this Thursday at 7 p.m. And down in Florida, the women's golf team wrapped up the spring break shootout, which was hosted by Florida Gulf Coast University. Yesterday, the team sat in 7th place with the final round played today. But after wind made the conditions much harder, the Cardinals golf team fell to 9th out of 14 teams. Top players for Ball State were Liz Kim and Manon Tunalum, who both were 15 over for the weekend. Head coach Catherine Mowat said she knew going down there that he would see some tough competition, but was happy with how the team performed.
I think we know we could have finished a little bit higher, but in the rankings, there are some teams that we don't typically see, so we didn't really know what to expect with them, but we certainly are competitive within the field that we just competed in, and fell a little bit today after a strong second round yesterday that put us in good position.
The team's next tournament is March 30th through 31st in Richmond, Kentucky. Not Virginia. I am from Virginia, so there's two different Richmonds. But yes, not the capital of Virginia. But Ball State women's team, they didn't make it to the March Madness.
Yeah.
Like for the women, and the men's team obviously has foregone the postseason. But I hope to see the women's team go far in the NIT.
I'm excited to see that they're at least having some postseason games. I'm excited to cheer on the Lady Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, at least we have one team to cheer on in the postseason, you know?
Absolutely.
Right. It was pretty disappointing to see, you know, Ball State men's team lose in the first round of their tournament, and then also to see the women get out pretty early in their tournament, too.
Yeah, they both did have really good seasons, and so it was a shame to see it end a little poorly.
Yeah, both teams got a great start to the beginning of the season, so it's tough to see it end this way.
All right, we'll have to leave it right there, Josh. Thank you. Coming up, see what a Parkland shooting survivor had to say at the iHeart Music Awards show about gun reform.
And also a female celebrity is behind bars. Find out who and why. That's after the break. Stay with us.
Hey, did you know 2.4 million loving cats and dogs in shelters and rescues need our help to find a home? Let's go to the shelterpetproject.org and meet a few who are in a shelter near you. Harlow, oh, she's one great listener who loves to hear all your stories. My kind of cat. Cerulo is a sweet, goofy boy who's eager to please. Sounds just like another dog I know. So go to the shelterpetproject.org, search your local shelters and rescues, and go for a cuddle with your next best friend. Adopt.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Welcome back to NewsLink Indiana. Katie Parker joins us with a look at what is trending tonight. Katie, good evening.
Hello, good evening. So first up, Alex Moscu, a survivor and student at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, spoke during the iHeartRadio Music Awards on Sunday. Wearing a blue March for Our Lives t-shirt, Moscu talked about the shooting and gun reform. Take a look.
We're marching in Washington, D.C. on March 24th. For all of our fellow students, and for the victims and survivors of gun violence in every community, from New Orleans to Chicago, Baltimore, or Detroit, wherever you are. We hope you will join us. Go to marchforourlives.com to RSVP today.
Moscu took to Twitter afterwards saying he was, quote, so thankful and honored to have been able to speak in front of so many amazing people. How awesome is that?
Yeah, it's great. They get a platform to, you know, really send their message across at the iHeartRadio Awards.
And so many young people really wanting to make a difference. I think that's really awesome to see.
Oh yeah, that's one of the biggest things is just getting people our age involved in politics. So it's really cool to see that they're, you know, standing up and taking a voice.
Definitely, yeah. And moving on, actress Heather Locklear is facing multiple charges in connection to an incident at her home last month. Prosecutors say Locklear is charged with 4 counts of battery on a police officer and 1 count of resisting a police officer. Authorities say Locklear was aggressive towards sheriff's deputies when they arrived at her Southern California home to respond to a domestic disturbance call. Officials say Locklear was arrested after deputies found evidence that the actress had battered her boyfriend. Wow. However, no domestic battery charges were filed against her. Locklear's arraignment is now scheduled for April 13th.
Yikes.
That is a shame to see. You know, Uptown Girls was always one of my favorite movies
I know,
growing
I looked
up
to her so much growing up, and it's just sad to see this. And I also found out that she is banned from owning a firearm.
Wow.
Yikes.
Wow.
I know.
All right, Katie, we'll have to leave it right there. Thank you so much. Ballot, last look at weather.
Well, temperatures overnight will drop down to an overnight low of 23 degrees.
Ugh.
Then for St. Patrick's Day, 42 degrees. And then for Sunday, 52 degrees. Plenty of sunshine, though, in the 7-day forecast.
All right, Ballot, thank you. That's all for NewsLink Indiana tonight. Be sure to watch tomorrow at noon on Facebook Live for the very latest.
And be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Thanks so much for joining us and have a good night.
You've been watching NewsLink Indiana in high definition.